Yo, what's going on, guys? Estee McCrawly coming to another video. Today we got some more VGC 2016. Wow, bleh. If you guys watched the last video, I made a mistake on that. I don't know what's been going on. It's just I've been out of it last week. I wasn't able to upload, and now my mind's just I'm not used to it. So, excuse me. We had another double battle here on the battle spot using the Mega Camerupt team that I built this past week or last week, I believe, and the battle's been good. This first one, I didn't bring the Mega Camerupt. I didn't think it was very necessary. My opponent had a team of Suicune, Landorus, Therian Form, Kangaskhan, Gengar, Sylveon, and Sableye. So two Mega Evolution possibilities there, Kangaskhan and Gengar. Uh, I've been seeing quite a few Suicunes. It's a decent support one. I don't really like it all that much. It's bulky and it can go for Snarl, and it has Stab Scald, and it can wear an Ice Beam, but that's about it. Nothing too fancy in my opinion. But looking at his team, Camerupt is weak to is going to get forward by Suicune and is weak to Landorus, and I can't hit anything for super effective damage. So I said that's a Mega Gengar. So in this case, I feel like Escavalier is a better option just to deal with that Sylveon, and also the Kangaskhan if it doesn't have, or I'll be able to resist Frustration or Return and Fake Out. Then I'll be able to one shot the Sylveon. I'll be able to fight back pretty well. And the Togekiss here doesn't do too much. I would be able to get super effective damage against offensive Sableye, but at the same time, I can also just hit it as well with some of my Pokemon. So I'm going to go ahead and get this first battle started. I brought Lantern to be able to deal with the Landorus and also the Suicune. So that's what I would with Landorus and Escavalier. A pretty interesting lead because I'm expecting him to lead with either Kangaskhan or Gengar. When you see Gengar, so I do have knockoff for that, and I also this is like a perfect lead for me. So I can go for a knockoff on the Gengar and go for an Iron Head on the Sylveon. So first turn he does protect the Sylveon, and he just goes straight up for his Shadow Ball into the Escavalier slot, which is a pretty good play. I mean, he has to take care of it, but it does just less than half, which is really fortunate for me. And we are going to get the knockoff. We are going to see he is holding the Focus Sash. I was thinking turn 1 going for a Swords Dance, but it's not like at this point a Swords Dance isn't really going to help because you're going to see he's going to go for a Shadow Ball there, and he's going to go for a Hyper Voice as well, which is what I was predicting. So if he goes for a Shadow Ball Hyper Voice, the Shadow Ball's not going to knock me out, but the Hyper Voice is going to do enough to be able to knock me out. So here I go for a U-turn just in case he wanted to switch. Give me that switch initiative, I'd be able to see what my opponent did and then react accordingly. But he didn't do anything, so I go into Musharna here. Since we got rid of the Gengar, this would be a good opportunity for me to set up the Trick Room, and we're going to be able to take this relatively well. And we're going to get the Leftovers Recovery. So all in all, just from that, we took about 40 damage, nothing too fancy. We're going to see the Sableye. And that's a bit of a problem. The thing here, we could see a potential taunt, but he does go for the Will-O-Wisp and he misses, which is really nice, but at the end of the day, not a big deal since I do have the Lumberry. So we do see the Shadow Ball, an interesting tech move. And here I go for the Sableye because there's no need to take out the Sylveon really, because like I said, he doesn't do that much damage to my Escavalier. And especially since he missed the Will-O-Wisp, that's fantastic. The only problem is my Musharna can't touch this Sableye since the only attacking move I know is Psychic. So I protect there, predicting the Will-O-Wisp. And we see Musharna is going to get hit with another Shadow Ball. After Leftovers Recovery, it's going to be close, but he does get the special defense drop, so one more will not knock me out. But I do get the Trick Room up, which is really nice, because now I'm going to be able to outspeed the Sableye and the Sylveon as well. But one thing I did forget is, he does have Prankster. Luckily, he misses again. But at this point, so I go there because I was predicting maybe a Protect from him. But I just knock it out. And I set up the Reflect just because I didn't know what his last one is. I was like, it could be the Kangaskhan in the back since he didn't Mega Evolve. So I was like, I'm just going to knock out the Sylveon and bring in whatever because this Sableye is really low and it's not really doing anything to me. And we do see it as the Kangaskhan, so Reflect's going to help out a lot. And now we're going to see the Mega Evolution. So he's got a really low Sableye and a Kangaskhan to deal with my whole team. And I got Landorus in the back, which is going to be able to get a nice Intimidate off on his Kangaskhan. He's going to go for the Fake Out, which is not going to knock me out. It's going to do decent damage, though. And here he's going to miss the Will-O-Wisp again. I feel really bad for this guy. But to be honest, I would have played a little bit differently if he did connect with the first Will-O-Wisp. Because he would have connected, I would have been burned, I would have hit him still, and I still would have taken him really low. And then he would have been that low, so at that point I would have just gone for another Iron Head. And he would have burned me, and I mean, it would have been a little different because I would have had to get a Helping Hand Iron Head off on the Sylveon to probably knock it out. But, so, I mean, in the back, I also have Landorus. So, as long as Landorus is up under Trick Room, I'd be able to one-shot this Kangaskhan with Superpower. Plus, I have Reflect up, and I get an Intimidate off. It'd just be a bunch of goodness for me. So, he's going to get a Sucker Punch off, which is a good play. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to knock me out. The Reflect, I really like having Reflect as a tech move. A lot of Pokemon, I find, like a lot of powerhouses are are physical attackers. Like the Kangaskhan is a really common one. The Scavalier, Landorus. And the thing, my Musharna is especially defensive. My Lantern eats up water type attacks. So we're immune to electric. So that leaves like normal, that leaves fighting, that leaves dragon type moves. So we do eat those up pretty well. So I really like it. It works well with this team. I mean, that's one of the things, one of those tech moves you had to find out what works best with your team. I had the option of Reflect and Light Screen. I feel like Reflect is better. There are very few situations where I think Light Screen would be better for me. So that one I played pretty well. My opponent did have some unfortunate RNG, which may have had an impact on how the game played out, but in the end, I don't think it affected the whole game, since I did have Landorus in the back to take care of the Kangaskhan. So as long as I would have had Reflect, if I played it correctly, I could have had Trick Room and Reflect and Intimidate. And even if I didn't have Trick Room, Reflect, and Intimidate, probably would have been enough to finish it, for me to survive and then knock him out with a Superpower. So a little bit of help from RNG on that one. And now we're gonna go ahead and get into this next battle. A really interesting team by my opponent. We see the Rosary there. I was like, oh, we see the Mega Charizard. Why? Or the Charizard could be the Mega. Is it going to be Sun? Is it going to carry Energy Ball? You never know. But he's got and the Starmie could be carrying Rain Dance. You never know. He's got a team of Charizard, Swellow. Excuse me. Tailow's the pre-evolution. Swellow, Aegislash, Starmie, Throw, and Roserade. So 4 interesting Pokemon there. Roserade, I haven't seen anyone else use Roserade. I have never seen anyone use Swellow. I've seen a few Starmies, and Throw I've never seen. So I assume the Throw would get access to something like Wide Guard or Fake Out. It might be there, and also Double Kick might be there just to deal with Smeargles and Kangaskhan's, the annoying normal types. And the Swellow as well. I don't know what it really gets access to. It could be like a banded attacker with like Double Edge and Brave Bird or something. So looking here, Lantern's really good. It's going to be able to hit just about everything on most of his team for super effective damage. It'll hit the 2 flying type Pokemon. It'll hit the water type Pokemon. It'll hit the grass type Pokemon. So that's just really a good Pokemon to have here, even though he doesn't have any water, or he does have a water type as well. What was tempting here was what if I wanted to bring a Scavalier or not, since it would be able to hit the Starmie for super effective damage just in case. And the only thing he'd be able to hit me for super effective, or that he'd really be able to hit me with, would be the Charizard. So it was tempting to take here, but I decided not to. And the Togekiss, since he didn't have any any Dragon types, or like the only thing I'd be able to hit for super effective damage would be the Roserade and the Throw. So I was like, not really that important. The Landorus can really help me out here with some Rock Slides, with that potential, with knockoffs, stuff like that. So that's why I decided to bring him over the Togekiss and the Escavalier. So we're gonna go ahead and get this next one started. And my opponent decides to lead, I lead with Musharna and Lantern. My opponent goes with Starmie Aegislash, which I was not expecting at all. And I do have some experience with Aegislash. I did run one on my VGC 2016 team. And I know it gets access to Wide Guard, and it's also really just a powerful Pokemon in general. So he's actually going to go straight for the Shadow Ball, which is going to deal quite a bit of damage, a lot more than I was expecting on some Musharna. We do see it as Life Orb, so it's a little bit more offensive, which is the way they usually are. And I go for a Volt Switch here, so I can get some initiative, see what he was going to do. And I was thinking, what I could do here is Volt Switch, bring in Camerupt, and set up Trick Room, to where it's like a free switch for me, plus damage, plus Trick Room. So it works out perfectly. So I'm in a really good spot right here, but the only problem is I pretty much need to one-shot, I need to finish off this Starmie, better said. So that's a little bit of a risk that I'd have to take. So I Mega Evolve, lower my speed a little bit, pick up that damage. And I go for Protect just to scout out. I was like, oh, if I can get a Psychic off, maybe, or deal a little bit more damage, I'd be a lot more comfortable with an Earth Power. Honestly, I could probably one-shot this thing with an Earth Power, even if it's at full health, just because of my strength and my ability. I set up Reflect here. Didn't know if he was going to switch in or not, and we do see he goes for Scald. I'd say that was kind of a wasted turn of Trick Room. I just wanted to be careful there. He's actually going to switch out the Aegislash here, which I find interesting, because for me, I would have been like, okay, well, you can knock out my Starmie, which isn't really that important, but I'll knock out your Musharna, so once Trick Room's gone, it's gone. So I personally feel like that was a little bit of a misplay. I go for Hidden Power here. This is actually a mistake. Earth Power would have done more damage, just because it was Stab and Sheer Force, and it has higher base power. So luckily it is still enough to pick up the knockout, but still a misplay. Would have been better to go for the Earth Power. So he brings back an Aegislash, and we just see straight up the King Shield. I didn't know if he was going to try and do something a little crazy here, so that's why I just go for the safe Earth Power. And I go for Psychic into Charizard, break a potential Sash, just get a little bit of chip damage off. You never know. And we see he goes straight for the Dragon Dance. So this under Trick Room, the speed boost is irrelevant, but it is going to give him the +1 attack, which makes him a lot scarier. So that kind of shows that he's probably going to be Mega Charizard X, since it's going to be a physical attacker, and he's going to switch out into Roserade. So I was actually considering going for a Heat Wave here, and even possibly a Psychic. So there's the Heat Wave, and that's pretty much just going to floor this Roserade. Ooh, not. I was actually really surprised that Roserade. The thing, I was actually thinking about going Psychic into Aegislash to cover the switch, and just because I was predicting Charizard to Protect to stall out the Trick Room. I was actually really surprised that Roserade was able to hang on. Maybe I'm just not as strong as I think I am. So here I bring in Landorus for multiple reasons. One, I needed that Intimidate, so now he's not at +1 attack anymore. So because I wanted to try and ensure the Trick Room setup, because right now I have Reflect up and he's not at +1 attack anymore. But he goes for the Flare Blitz, so I was a little surprised that he was able to knock me out. But I guess he could be Adamant or Max Attack Nature. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. So, and he goes for Petal Dance, so I was like, oh wow, that's interesting. It is over half, and the Reflect's gone, so this is not a good position to be in right now. So I have Camerupt. What I have, and he has Dragon Rush, and I'm like, what? So that's going to be enough to pick up the knockout on the what's it called, Landorus, and he's going to get a Petal Dance off. That's going to do a lot of damage. So he gets confused, but he has Lumberry, so good item to put on that thing. I go for the Earth Power here onto the Charizard, which not so sure if that was, well, I don't know if it was really the best idea, because what I have in the back is my Lantern. So it would have come down to if Lantern could survive a Dragon Rush from Charizard or not, because I know a Petal Dance is going to one-shot me. So the thing here, what's unfortunate is Petal Dance is random. So it's like a 50-50 thing right there, where like if he would of which Pokemon he would have hit. So like if he went into the Protect, then I would have got the Ice Beam off. I would have knocked out the Roserade and I would have won. But at this point, nothing I can do. He outspeeds me and he knocks me out. So that's going to be a 2-0 for my opponent. But in the end, it's one of those battles where I'm not upset with how I played. I may have made a few misplays there, but my opponent won on a 50-50, where if he went for the Petal Dance into Camerupt, he would have lost. So, well, I don't even know if he would have lost. It would have probably been a Lantern versus Aegislash face-off. I don't know who would have won that. But, because if my Lantern was Solar, I probably would have won. Because he would have attacked me, and he would have been stuck in Blade form, and then I would have just gotten an attack off with his defenses really low. So, I'm not too upset about that one. But I put out a pretty interesting team. I did make some mistakes, but I still feel like my opponent got a little lucky. But like you guys saw at the beginning, I got lucky dodging, like I think I dodged 3 Will-O-Wisps in a row. So this time I got unlucky, and my opponent got a Petal Dance off on me right on the Pokemon he needed to. So no complaints, but interesting teams today. Some interesting Pokemon, but that's pretty much going to be it. If you guys got any suggestions for me, go ahead and let me know. If you guys got any, or if you guys want to battle me, you can also let me know. Well, we make a new doubles team soon, so if you have any requests for what Pokemon or idea I build the team around, you can also let me know, so I keep that in mind when I build the team. But that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.